Hello students, today we are going to discuss one of the most commonly found parasite. It's a protozoa, commonly known as Plasmodium. Sometimes it is also referred as malaria parasite. This particular parasite is a causative agent for one of the most devastating disease known to humankind, that is malaria. Many species of this parasite are known to infect a variety of animals and birds. But as we are interested especially in the four which affect the human, and they are termed as follows: Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum, and Plasmodium ovale. Out of which vivax and falciparum account for more than 95% of cases of malaria. Its distribution across the world is in the tropic, subtropic, and temperate zones where they present high death rate in Plasmodium falciparum, whereas low death rate can be found in the other species of Plasmodium. It is known to affect, or its life cycle is known to be occurring in two hosts. That is, first is the human, and the next is female Anopheles mosquito. So its life cycle can be divided in two parts, that is a sexual phase and sexual phase. A sexual phase of life cycle where man or human is the secondary host, whereas the primary host for malaria parasite or plasmodium is female Anopheles mosquito. Here is a pictorial diagram where you can see how different types of Anopheles vector of the different species of Anopheles, how they look like. Now about the morphological feature of this particular parasite. Its morphological feature or the appearance are termed up a variety of names. Like first is the trophozoid. How do we define a trophozoid? It is a mature and growing intracellular parasite in man. So the trophozoid stage of Plasmodium is found in humans where it stays intracellular within a particular type of cell and it is mature and growing. How does it appears? It is amoeboid in shape, having a single nucleus, and it is layered or double layered by plasmolemma. It contains endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complexes, ribosomes, root vacuole, and mitochondria. There is a typical feature of a vacuole containing hemozoin present in trophozoid. Also, some concentric bodies are attached to the double-layered plasmolemma, which are said to have mitochondrial function. That is, they would have the same function as that of mitochondria. This is how a typical trophozoid looks like. The point here to be noted is the presence of a food vacuole containing hemozoin. Also, the other cellular structures can be seen in this diagram. Now, about the life cycle. There is a term used which is alternation of cycle. That is, there are two phases of cycle. It is the sexual and sexual phase, and we have already discussed this part. That the asexual phase is carried out in humans, whereas sexual phase is carried out in mosquitoes. Here is a pictorial diagram of how the true life cycle that is in humans and in mosquito runs like. We'll have a detailed discussion of this later also. But to understand this particular diagram, let us start with the numbering given here, and we'll follow those numbers to understand what are the steps of the cycle. The first number, as you can read out, the cycle starts when an infected female Anopheles mosquito injects sporozoite into the skin while feeding. So here's the point that needs to be noted that only female Anopheles mosquito feeds on blood, whereas male Anopheles mosquito feed on the nectar of flowers. Second point, this feeding activity releases an anticoagulant where the piercing or the sucking organ of female Anopheles mosquito is inserted. This anticoagulant that is mixed with the saliva of female Anopheles mosquito carries the plasmodium in the form of a sporozoid, and that sporozoid enters into the blood circulation. Now, these sporozoids, which have entered, that is the second point, these sporozoids which have entered the bloodstream, now their primary target organ is liver. So they will reach liver, where they will convert into schizon. The fourth point, or the next stage, is schizon ruptures, releasing thousands of individual merozoites into the bloodstream. So it's like a sporozoid, the number of sporozoids that has entered into your bloodstream or into the liver, the number is very limited, but they stay there for a while in liver and multiply and increase their number. And then the cells, that is the hepatocytes containing schizons, will convert into the merozoites. That is, these schizons will convert into merozoites, and they will fill the hepatocyte with merozoites, and the cell will rupture. Rupturing of this cell will release merozoites again into the blood. These merozoites in turn will affect the red blood cell. They will enter into the red blood cell, and again they will divide to form schizons. Whereas these infected RBCs will travel to the spleen where gametocytes would be formed. And these gametocytes, that is, they are like the gametes of sexual reproduction of two varieties. You can hear it metaphorically refer them as male and female gametes. They are released into the blood, and when another female Anopheles mosquito comes for sucking the blood, these gametocytes, which are freely floating in the blood, will be consumed by these Anopheles mosquito. And the second stage, that is the second part of their life cycle, that is a mosquito cycle, that will start. So let us discuss this part. That is what I have narrated so far. It is a human cycle. There are repeated cycle of asexual multiplication, which is also referred as schizogony. As you remember from the last slide, I said that the sporozoites which are released in the blood will travel till the liver, and in liver they will multiply, and this multiplication obviously is an asexual type of multiplication, leading to merozoites. Merozoites will enter into the erythrocyte, and again they will divide. That is also an asexual reproduction. So again, as I have narrated, there was an anticoagulant which was secreted by female Anopheles bite. That anticoagulant is known as anophyllin. What is the function of that particular anticoagulant? It will not allow the blood to coagulate so that Anopheles mosquito can easily suck the blood. And with this anticoagulant, there are sporozoites which enter into the blood. Within 30 minutes, all the sporozoites approach the liver and no sporozoite is available or visible in blood. This is a defense mechanism adopted by this parasite so that the body defense system or the immune system would not act against this sporozoite as they will enter into the liver cell, and liver cell are recognized by our immune system to be our own cell, so they won't be recognized. Now let us discuss the first, that is a pre-erythrocytic cycle. Sporozoites that were released into the blood by female Anopheles mosquito will stay in the bloodstream for approximately 30 minutes and then they won't be visible. They get into the hepatocytes to undergo asexual reproduction, zygogony. This reproduction or the asexual reproduction or development of merozoites will take around 8 days. So what happens inside this hepatocyte, that these sporozoites will grow, they will feed to a spherical trophozoite known as cryptozoite. Soon it transforms, called cryptocyzoid or cryptomeron. It undergoes multiple fission and give rise to numerous cryptomerozoites. Now liver cell will collapse, liberating merozoites in the liver sinusoids. Cryptomerozoite invades the cryptomerozoite or merozoite, which are the same thing. They will invade erythrocyte and undergo endoerythrocytic schizophrenia and initiate malarial disease. So it is only after the erythrocytic cycle that the symptoms which are related to the disease malaria will appear. During liver schizophrenia, plasmodium do not cause clinical manifestations in human, or any clinical symptoms won't be appearing in a person when the person or the parasite is undergoing liver schizophrenia. So it's approximately, you can decide the time. So if a mosquito bites you today, you would only get the symptoms after 8 to 9 days. Next is the erythrocytic schizogony, also known as endoerythrocytic cycle. So these merozoites, which were released from the liver cell, enter the erythrocyte and becomes trophozoite. They feed on the host cell by ingesting hemoglobin and other erythrocytic material. The portion of erythrocyte unoccupied by trophocyte shows a dotted or stippled appearance. This is known as Snowfirst dot, which is very much characteristic of Plasmodium vivax. It is referred as Siemens dot in Plasmodium malariae and Morus dot in Plasmodium falciparum. Each trophozoite becomes vacuolated and it forms a ring which is known as signet ring. So this signet ring stage or the peripheral blood film made for this particular type of infestation will show RBC with a signet ring. How do you define a signet ring? Um, you might be aware of this solitaire ring. That is a ring with a single diamond placed on the top of it. So it's a circular ring having a single diamond placed on it, and that appearance is signet. It is a large central vacuole, a marginal ring of cytoplasm, nucleus, and cell organelle. This vacuole, which is present, is a nutrient vacuole and it contains certain enzymes which break down hemoglobin, which in turn releases chromatin and amino acids. This chromatin is transformed into a brownish yellow toxic malarial pigment known as hemozoin. As you can see in this diagram, the top diagram shows a signet ring. Now, parasite occupies more than half of the RBC. This semi-miniature trophozoite, that is juvenile trophozoite, is in the amoeboid stage. Parasite grow further, loses its vacuole, pseudopodia, and becomes rounded. Fill the whole of the RBC. It is called mature trophozoite. Juvenile is the young trophozoite, whereas then it will lose its vacuole, pseudopodia, and amoeboid structure, and it will become a rounded in shape. Trophozoite transforms into a dividing form called schizont and meron. It undergoes multiple fission and produces numerous merozoites or schizozoites. Inside RBC, merozoites are arranged concentrically around a compact cluster of pigment granules. This is called rosette stage. Rosette is you might have seen if someone dies, so what we do, we offer flowers to them, and if that is a garland which is circular in shape, and that is the rosette structure. It may contain 8 to 24 merozoites. RBC breakdowns, releasing merozoites to the blood plasma. This initiates malarial paroxysm, characterized by high recurring fever and chill. This breakdown or release of merozoites in the blood is the point of initiation where the clinical symptom associated with malaria will start. The pigment or the other product get accumulated in the spleen or beneath the skin, giving a pale yellow color to malarial patient. Some merozoites perish and others penetrate into fresh RBC within 10 to 15 minutes to repeat the cycle, and so does the malarial paroxysm can be explained that every day the patient will have the episodes of recurrent fever and chill. Hypozoin, trophozoite which remain dormant for longer period and multiply at a later time, responsible for relapse malaria. Penetration of merozoites into RBC occur only in the presence of specific receptor molecule on erythrocyte membrane, and it's a point worth noting here that the patients suffering from sickle cell anemia do not have this particular receptor, and so they are resistant to malaria. Following penetration into RBC, merozoites enlarge and transform to trophozoites. It takes 72 hours in Plasmodium malariae, 48 in other species. Parasitic multiplication and release of toxic product is responsible for clinical attack of malaria, overt malaria. Thank you, and we'll continue discussing it in the next class.